The air on Zephyr Station was thick with tension. Alarms blared in the distance, but most of the inhabitants ignored them, lost in their daily routines. A faint hum of energy flowed through the docking bays, and neon lights flickered along the worn metal walkways. Among the crowd, a young human scavenger named Eli Novak moved carefully, his worn gloves brushing over old cargo crates. He had always survived on scraps, buying and selling forgotten tech. But today felt different. He could feel it in his chest, a buzzing excitement that didn't fade. Eli's eyes landed on a rusted container tucked away in the corner of the bay. It was small, unmarked, and covered in dust. The station scanners ignored it entirely, but something about it called to him. He knelt down, prying the lid open, and his heart skipped. Inside lay a small device, no bigger than his palm, covered in strange symbols and faintly glowing. Its material shimmered like liquid silver, yet it felt solid and impossibly dense in his hand. "What in the universe?" Eli whispered, his voice barely audible over the distant clamor. He turned the device over, studying it carefully. Ancient alien scripts clung to its surface, but there were also marks he recognized, human-made glyphs from the long-lost colonial era. He had read about these in history databases, but never thought he would hold one himself. Suddenly, the device emitted a soft pulse, vibrating in his hand. Eli stumbled back, his mind racing. Could this be a relic of the old human exploration fleet? The same fleet rumored to have vanished centuries ago after the great interstellar conflict? He had always dismissed it as legend. But now, in his own trembling hands, the story was real. A flicker of light shot from the device, projecting a hologram above it. Shapes and maps swirled in the air, forming a massive blueprint of a starship. Its design was unlike anything Eli had ever seen, vast, sprawling, equipped with technology that even current humans had only theorized. The projection stabilized, and a figure appeared, tall, armored, and shimmering like the stars themselves. "Human detected," the voice boomed, harmonizing multiple tones into one. "Authorization recognized. Species: human. Identity confirmed, Eli Novak. You are now the keeper of the legacy vessel." Eli froze, his mind blank. "Keeper? Vessel? What are you?" "I am Sentinel-1, the figure replied, its voice calm yet powerful. "Guardian of the Celestial Vanguard, last of the colonial defense fleet. You have unlocked the command beacon. Its activation has alerted all factions across known space. You have approximately 6 hours before they converge." Panic and exhilaration battled in Eli's chest. His life had been ordinary, scraping by, trading junk for scraps. But now, everything had changed. The knowledge of humanity's forgotten fleet, the responsibility of protecting it, it was overwhelming. Yet, deep inside, a spark ignited, a human spark. Curiosity, courage, determination. 6 hours, to do what? Eli managed to ask, gripping the device tightly. "To retrieve the Celestial Vanguard," the Sentinel answered. "To secure humanity's legacy before it falls into the wrong hands. Others seek this vessel, alien factions who fear human potential, scavengers who wish to weaponize it, and opportunists who crave its secrets. Only you can navigate its recovery." Eli took a shaky breath. He thought of his friends back on Zephyr Station, of the life he'd left behind, and of the countless challenges humanity had overcome in history. If humans could survive impossible odds before, why not now? He slipped the device into his jacket and ran, weaving through narrow corridors and avoiding security drones. In the distance, the station's warning sirens grew louder. Red lights pulsed across the metal walls. Eli's mind raced. Where could he find a ship capable of taking him to the Vanguard? Then he remembered Mira, a former pilot turned rogue trader. If anyone could get him off the station unnoticed, it would be her. As he reached the docking bay, he spotted her shuttle. Mira looked up from her console, raising an eyebrow. "Eli, you look like hell. What's going on?" "No time to explain," he said, tossing her the device. "I found something that could change everything. We need to leave. Now." Mira studied the device for a long moment, then nodded. "You're insane, but I like it. Let's go." As the shuttle lifted off, alarms screaming below them, Eli clutched the device. The Sentinel's hologram floated beside him, projecting a path through the uncharted void. "Prepare for immediate departure," it said. "Trust in human ingenuity. You will need it." Outside the viewport, the stars stretched into elongated streaks as the shuttle jumped to FTL. Eli's heart raced, not just from the speed, but from the realization that humanity's lost legacy was finally within reach. And with it, the chance to remind the galaxy why humans were always underestimated. This was only the beginning. The shuttle shuddered as it emerged from the FTL corridor, entering the dark expanse between Zephyr Station and the uncharted void of the Chrono sector. Stars gleamed coldly in the distance, but the emptiness around them felt alive, like eyes were watching. Eli gripped the device tighter, his fingers brushing against the glowing silver crystal. The Sentinel's hologram shimmered beside him, guiding the shuttle's path. "Eli, what exactly are we running from?" Mira asked, her voice tense as she maneuvered around asteroid fields and abandoned debris. Her hands were steady, but her eyes flicked constantly to the sensors. "You said, all factions are after it." "All factions," the Sentinel replied. "Some seek knowledge, others seek power. All fear what humanity left behind. And some will kill to take it." Eli swallowed hard. He thought about the colonial defense fleet, the forgotten ships humanity had built centuries ago. The Celestial Vanguard, last of its line, contained technology and knowledge so advanced it could shift the balance of power across the galaxy. Now, after centuries of obscurity, it was awake again, and every predator in the sector had smelled it. Suddenly, the sensors beeped violently. 3 ships emerged from behind a nearby asteroid cluster, sleek, black, and bristling with weaponry. Their markings were alien, unknown, but their intent was clear. They were here to take the device, and Eli, by force. Mira swore under her breath. "They are fast. Too fast. I can't outrun all 3. "Then we don't outrun them," Eli said, feeling a surge of adrenaline. "We outsmart them. Humanity has never relied solely on speed." The Sentinel projected a 3D map of the sector above the console. "Follow my guidance. There is a narrow passage through the anomaly belt. It is unstable, ships often vanish there. But the path is safe if navigated correctly. Human intuition and decision-making will be critical." Mira's eyes widened. "You mean we're flying into a death trap?" "Exactly," Eli said, his jaw tight. "But the trap is our advantage." They angled the shuttle toward the twisting corridor of distorted space. The stars outside stretched and contorted, bending light in impossible ways. Space itself seemed liquid, as though they were diving into a river of darkness. Sensors flickered as Mira guided the shuttle carefully, following the Sentinel's holographic markers. Behind them, the pursuers accelerated, their weapons charging. Missiles streaked toward the shuttle, but the anomalies twisted their trajectories. One ship vanished entirely as it collided with an invisible spatial rift. Mira's hands shook, but she kept the shuttle steady. This is insane," she muttered. "It's what humans do," Eli replied, a grim smile forming. "When everyone else sees impossibility, we see opportunity." The Sentinel's voice remained calm. "Eli, humanity's ingenuity will be tested. Use your knowledge, instincts, and courage. Trust your fellow human. This is what separates your species from all others." Hours, or perhaps minutes, time was distorted here, passed as they navigated the anomalies. Every second was a dance with death. A misstep could mean obliteration. Eli's mind raced through every scrap of knowledge he had, physics, strategy games, even old navigation simulations from his childhood. Humans had survived for thousands of years by thinking creatively in impossible situations. That creativity would be their lifeline now. Suddenly, the shuttle shook violently. A spatial vortex opened beneath them, sucking them toward its core. "Brace yourself!" Mira shouted, her knuckles white on the controls. Eli clutched the device, feeling the cube's pulse sync with his heartbeat. Light shot from it, forming a protective field around the shuttle. The vortex's pull weakened, and they emerged unscathed, but barely. "Did we make it?" Mira gasped. For now, the Sentinel said. But the true challenge begins at the Celestial Vanguard's location. Many others have already traced our signal. You must prepare for confrontation upon arrival. Eli's thoughts turned inward. He had survived poverty, neglect, and the harsh corridors of Zephyr Station. But now, he was facing the galaxy's deadliest hunters. Yet, a fire burned inside him. Humans had always found ways to turn disadvantage into triumph. And he would do the same. Minutes later, the anomalies ended, and the stars returned to their familiar, cold beauty. Eli glimpsed the Vanguard's coordinates projected in the hologram. A massive silhouette hovered ahead, a ship so enormous it dwarfed the largest carriers of the modern human fleet. Even from a distance, its presence radiated authority, history, and power. The Celestial Vanguard was alive, awaiting its human guardians. "Do you see it?" Eli whispered. Mira nodded, or etched on her face. The ship was partially cloaked, shadows of massive turrets and sprawling decks visible through the shimmer. But before they could relax, the sensors screamed. Another fleet was approaching, this time human mercenaries, opportunists who had tracked the signal. Some would fight for it, others to sell it to the highest bidder. Eli clenched his fists. "We don't just survive. We outthink them. That's what humans do." The Sentinel's hologram shimmered, outlining the ship's docking bays and hidden access points. "Eli, the Vanguard will only respond to a human command key. They cannot harm you if you reach the core. But you must act quickly. Coordination, speed, and ingenuity are required." The chase intensified. Marauding ships closed in from all sides, lasers cutting through the void. Eli and Mira weaved the shuttle through debris, gravitational anomalies, and narrow asteroid canyons. Every maneuver tested their reflexes, every second demanded absolute focus. And then, just as hope seemed thin, the shuttle sensors blinked green, the docking bay was within reach. A safe corridor, carefully hidden by centuries of human engineering, appeared. Eli exhaled sharply. The first trial was over. But the Vanguard's secrets, its power, and the factions now hunting them, these were just the beginning. Eli knew one truth above all. Humanity had faced impossible odds before, and they would rise again. The cube pulsed, the Sentinel's voice calm yet firm. "Prepare for entry. The true test begins now. Your ingenuity will define the outcome of humanity's legacy." Eli tightened his grip. Mira adjusted the controls. The docking bay doors slowly opened. And beyond them, the Celestial Vanguard awaited, silent, massive, and alive. The shuttle's ramp descended slowly, almost reverently, into the shadowed docking bay of the Celestial Vanguard. Eli's breath caught in his throat. Even in darkness, the ship's vast structure was awe-inspiring. Its hull shimmered with faint energy lines, pulsating like a living heartbeat. Every inch of metal, every panel, and every corridor whispered stories of humanity's brilliance centuries ago. Mira adjusted the controls to stabilize their landing. "I've piloted some big ships," she said, voice tight with awe. "But nothing like this. It's alive." The Sentinel floated beside the cube in Eli's hand, its hologram flickering slightly as it scanned the bay. The Vanguard recognizes human DNA. The ship's core is dormant but sentient. Unauthorized personnel cannot activate the vessel. Only the key, your key, can access its systems. Eli swallowed. His hands trembled slightly. "So, I'm in charge now? Just like that?" "Precisely," the Sentinel said. "Your species has always risen to challenges through ingenuity. This is your moment." The shuttle doors opened fully. A sudden gust of recycled air flowed from the docking bay, carrying the scent of machinery and time. They stepped onto the massive metal floor, and the echoes of their footsteps sounded tiny against the ship's grandeur. Holographic panels flickered to life as Eli approached, responding to the presence of the command key. Ancient human symbols glowed softly across the walls. Mira whispered, "It's like walking into history itself." The first corridor they entered was wide, lined with towering consoles and dormant machinery. Eli noticed patterns in the symbols, maps of star systems, tactical displays, schematics of warships. The ship had been humanity's ultimate creation, but more than a weapon, it was a library, a repository of knowledge, an archive of human potential. A sudden warning light flashed across the hall. The ship hummed, and an automated defense system activated. A series of energy turrets rose from the walls. Mira stepped back, pulling Eli behind cover. "I guess it doesn't trust strangers. Yet it recognizes us," the Sentinel said. "The systems test intent and ingenuity. Solve the challenge, and the path forward opens." Eli studied the layout quickly. The turrets moved in patterns, scanning, but their sensors had a predictable rhythm. Using timing and a makeshift path calculation, he led Mira across the corridor, ducking behind panels and jumping over laser grids. It was a game of intellect and instinct, a human puzzle in motion. They reached a console near the corridor's end. Eli placed the cube against a panel, and the symbols on the walls rearranged themselves. The turrets powered down, retracting silently into their housings. The Sentinel flickered in approval. "Well done. Human creativity acknowledged. You may proceed deeper into the Vanguard." As they moved further inside, they entered the main atrium, a massive chamber with ceilings that seemed endless. Holographic maps of the galaxy rotated slowly in the center, showing uncharted sectors and long-forgotten colonies. Eli realized the ship was not just a relic of war, it was a vault of human civilization itself. Artifacts, knowledge, even seeds of extinct Earth plants were stored within. Humanity's achievements had been preserved against time and oblivion. Suddenly, the ship's systems pulsed. A soft voice echoed through the atrium, calm, commanding, layered with centuries of memory. "Human presence verified. Identity confirmed. Eli Novak. Guardian protocols activated." Eli felt a thrill of awe and responsibility. "So this is what we were meant to protect," he whispered. "Not only protect," the Sentinel replied. "Use it wisely. Humanity's legacy carries the power to inspire, to create, and, if misused, to destroy. You must choose." The chamber doors opened further, revealing a spiral staircase descending into the ship's core. Energy flowed visibly along conduits beneath transparent floors, pulsating in rhythm with the cube. Eli and Mira began their descent cautiously. With every step, the ship seemed to test their resolve. Security drones, small, spider-like machines, scanned their movements. Eli and Mira had to improvise constantly, using mirrors, shadows, and timing to bypass them. Hours, or what felt like hours, passed as they navigated deeper into the vessel. The Sentinel guided them, but every step required human judgment. When the last drone finally retracted into a maintenance hatch, Eli exhaled. "We're inside, now what?" "The ship's core houses the intelligence of the Celestial Vanguard," the Sentinel explained. "Accessing it will activate communications across the galaxy. Every faction will be aware of your presence. You must be ready to defend and negotiate, for the first true test is coming." Just then, the ship shuddered violently. Sensors flared. A voice from an unknown faction boomed through the docking channels. "Human intruders detected. Surrender the key, or be destroyed." Mira clenched the controls. "I told you the galaxy wouldn't just let us walk in." Eli's heart pounded, but he smiled. "They think they can outsmart humans? They have no idea." With the cube in hand and the Vanguard systems starting to respond to him, Eli realized the first confrontation would define everything: human courage, creativity, and unity against overwhelming odds. The fight for humanity's legacy had truly begun. The Celestial Vanguard hummed with latent power as Eli and Mira descended into the ship's core. The walls glowed faintly with ancient symbols, pulsing in response to the cube. Every step they took carried weight, not just their own lives, but the future of humanity's hidden legacy. "Do you feel that?" Mira whispered, gripping the railing. "It's like the ship knows we're here." "It does," the Sentinel confirmed. "And it is assessing potential threats. Expect intruders. You are not alone." Eli's stomach sank. He had hoped the Vanguard would be untouched, a quiet relic waiting to be rediscovered. But the moment he activated the cube, countless sensors across the sector had lit up like beacons. And now, Those sensors had guided enemy ships directly here. The first alarm blared. From the outer corridors, the silhouettes of alien boarding parties appeared, tall, armored figures wielding energy rifles, scanning for human presence. They moved with precision, confident that centuries-old human ships would be defenseless. "They think they can just take it," Eli muttered. "They clearly don't know humans." "Correct," the Sentinel replied. "You have the advantage. Use your environment. Be unpredictable. Outthink them." Eli's mind raced. The Vanguard's corridors were labyrinthine, filled with hidden panels, automated doors, and vertical shafts. He remembered old maintenance schematics from the holographic displays earlier. Mira, split up the patrols. Use the gravity lifts. Lead them into the containment zones. Don't let them reach the core. Mira nodded. "Got it. Let's make them regret this." The first wave of intruders entered the corridor. Eli ducked behind a bulkhead, pressing the cube against a hidden panel. A low hum resonated, and suddenly, the floor beneath the aliens shifted, forming a temporary trap chamber. The intruders were caught off guard, scrambling as automated energy gates blocked their escape routes. "Nice one," Mira said, firing a few controlled bursts from her sidearm to pressure the remaining attackers. "This ship fights with us, not just for us." The cube pulsed in Eli's hand. The Sentinel's voice projected strategies, guiding him to unlock dormant defense systems. Turrets emerged from the walls, but instead of firing indiscriminately, they targeted only the intruders. Eli watched, amazed, as human ingenuity merged with ancient human technology, brains and machines working in perfect harmony. Despite their advantage, more enemies kept arriving. This was no longer a simple defense, it was a siege. Eli realized that brute force alone wouldn't save them. Humans had always thrived in desperate situations by thinking creatively. He spotted a network of conduits above the corridor, maintenance shafts just wide enough to allow a person to pass. "Mira, follow me. Use the conduits. We can flank them from above." Mira glanced up. "You're crazy." "Crazy works," Eli replied with a grin, sliding into the narrow shaft. They moved silently above the intruders, dropping down behind them to create confusion. The alien forces hesitated, unsure of the threat's origin. Panic spread quickly through their ranks. Eli and Mira exploited every gap, every moment of hesitation, turning fear into an advantage. Hours, or what felt like hours, passed as they fought, outsmarted, and navigated the Vanguard's twisting passages. The cube responded to Eli's creativity, revealing hidden corridors and activating ancient systems designed to reward ingenuity over brute strength. They discovered storage bays with preserved seeds from extinct earth plants, libraries of art, and encrypted archives of science. Humanity's legacy was far beyond what anyone in the galaxy remembered. Then, the largest threat appeared. A massive alien commander, a bioengineered warlord clad in heavy armor, blocked their path. Its energy blade glowed menacingly. "Surrender the human key," it boomed, its voice shaking the corridors. "Or be annihilated." Eli stepped forward, his mind racing. "Mira, let the ship guide us. Think like humans think, unpredictable, clever, impossible to anticipate." He pressed the cube against the wall, activating a hidden defense chamber. Panels shifted, the floor trembled, and automated systems surrounded the warlord. It swung its blade, but Eli and Mira moved with speed and precision, dodging attacks. Gravity fields shifted, traps engaged, and finally, the warlord was immobilized. "You see," Eli said, breathing hard. "Humans always find a way." The Sentinel's voice resonated with approval. Human ingenuity has overcome the first major obstacle. But the galaxy is vast, and this is only the beginning. Many will come seeking the Vanguard. Eli looked around at Mira, the cube, and the ancient ship alive around them. He felt an overwhelming sense of pride and determination. Humanity had survived empires, wars, and extinction-level events through creativity and resilience. Now, standing within their own legacy, they would continue that tradition. "Next," Eli said, gripping the cube, "we take the ship. We finish what was started. We remind the galaxy why humans are never to be underestimated. Mira nodded, her face grim but determined. Then let's show them what humanity can do. The Vanguard's corridors glowed brighter, responding to Eli's command. The path to the core, and to humanity's greatest treasure, was now open. The battle for the Celestial Vanguard was far from over, but one thing was certain: humans would not go quietly, and they would always outthink, outmaneuver, and outlast. The corridors of the Celestial Vanguard hummed like a heartbeat as Eli and Mira reached the ship's core. The cube pulsed rhythmically in Eli's hand, syncing with the ship's energy. Every panel, every hologram, every system responded to the presence of a human. For centuries, the Vanguard had waited for someone like Eli, someone with creativity, courage, and the spark of human ingenuity. "Here we are," the Sentinel said. "The command center. Once activated, the Vanguard will awaken fully. Every faction across this sector will know of your presence. Diplomacy, strategy, and ingenuity will determine your success." Eli took a deep breath. "Then let's wake her up." As he pressed the cube against the central console, lights streaked across the chamber. Holograms of vast fleets appeared, massive human dreadnoughts preserved in stasis. Maps of old Earth colonies, research stations, and hidden settlements rotated in slow motion. The Vanguard's AI came alive, voice smooth, commanding, and layered with decades of human knowledge. "Welcome, Keeper," it said. "You have activated the Celestial Vanguard. Humanity's legacy is now within your command. Threats detected. Multiple factions approaching. Recommend immediate defensive and strategic measures." Eli glanced at Mira. "We're about to make history." Outside, enemy ships closed in. Alien mercenaries, scavengers, and opportunists, all drawn by the cube signal, prepared to attack. But Eli's mind raced. He didn't just want to survive. He wanted to show the galaxy why humans are remarkable. "Activate the Vanguard's defensive network," Eli commanded. "But only in coordination with human tactics. We're not just shooting blindly. We'll outthink them." The ship obeyed, energy shields rising across its hull, turrets rotating with precision, and holographic decoys projecting false targets. Eli studied the incoming enemy formations. "We'll use their aggression against them. Mira, guide them into the gravity wells near the nebula." Mira grinned. "Your plan sounds insane. I love it." The enemy fleet advanced, confident, unaware of the trap. The Vanguard systems created controlled distortions in space. Ships collided, were trapped, or veered off course. Energy fields disoriented their targeting systems. One by one, alien commanders realized they were outmaneuvered by a human mind guiding an ancient human warship. "Humans always find a way," Mira said, awe in her voice. Eli nodded, heart pounding. He activated hidden archives in the Vanguard, sending messages across the sector. Calls for negotiation, displays of human history, and reminders of the costs of underestimating humanity. The holograms displayed the courage, creativity, and resilience that had allowed humans to survive wars, plagues, and near-extinction events. The enemy ships hesitated. Some withdrew. Some surrendered. And a few, reckless or desperate, attempted to strike, but were swiftly neutralized by the Vanguard systems, controlled precisely by Eli and Mira. Hours passed in this high-stakes dance of strategy and intellect. The Vanguard had not just protected its legacy, it had broadcast humanity's ingenuity across the stars. Alien factions, scavengers, and even rival human colonies recognized the intelligence and creativity of the species they had once underestimated. Finally, silence fell. The corridors of the Vanguard shimmered with calm energy. Eli, Mira, and the Sentinel stood in the core chamber, exhausted but triumphant. The cube pulsed gently, acknowledging the successful activation of the vessel. "You have succeeded," the Sentinel said. "Humanity's legacy is secured. You have reminded the galaxy that humans are not to be underestimated. Ingenuity, courage, and adaptability have prevailed." Eli looked out of the viewport at the scattered enemy ships retreating. "We didn't just survive. We reminded everyone what it means to be human." Mira smiled, placing a hand on Eli's shoulder. "And we've just begun. The Vanguard has knowledge, resources, everything humans need to thrive again. Imagine what we can do with this. Eli nodded. We can rebuild, explore, and inspire. This isn't just a warship. It's hope, proof of what humans are capable of. The Sentinel flickered, its hologram fading slightly as it merged fully with the Vanguard systems. Legacy preserved. Future secured. Keeper, humanity thanks you. Eli held the cube one last time. For centuries, the Celestial Vanguard had waited for a human to awaken it. That human had arrived. And with courage, creativity, and relentless determination, humans had claimed their destiny. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, waiting. And humans, small, clever, and unyielding, were ready to reach them.